Good morning and welcome to LB Presents, live on Bob Earth. And we are here to unite on purpose. And I've been running LB Presents with lots of different interviews from around the world. And this morning is no different. I am beaming in a special guest from Australia. But before I talk about that, I would like to talk to you about why LB Presents is here. I decided to start a program that was all around uniting people on a purpose to be able to create a global movement towards unity. My belief is that everybody should be seen no matter where you are or the demographic that you live in, and that we could create the face of the modern business and the face of the modern world. And what if we could shift education, health, manufacturing, retail, all into a new era by building brands to shift industries to make a positive change in the world. And so every week I have been interviewing different people that have been through the Bob programs that are all building their business around a purpose and impacting change in the world. And this morning is no different. I have a guest on called Brad Jukes, and he is from Acland Travel, and they are a travel industry that is award-winning travel company that is doing impactful things in the world. And so thanks for joining me this morning, Brad. It's a morning for me and it's an afternoon for you, isn't it?
That's right. It is an afternoon and it's in cold, rainy Melbourne, but we shall push on.
Oh no, well, it's actually sunny and blue skies here in the UK today, so that's always very nice. So Brad, could you talk to me about, because you found L&D, didn't you? You found us through, I think, my business partner in Australia, Sarah Skeets and Tim Dwyer, who was speaking at a conference called Business Chicks. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right. So Deb, who works here with us at Acland Travel, she was part of the Business Chicks webinar at the start of the pandemic. And like everyone else at that time, we were all trying to watch anything or get any information we could that could help us navigate through the impending recession that was surely coming. And Deb came to me and said, you really need to watch these guys. This is one of the best things I've ever done. So I watched a replay of the webinar and reached out to Tim and had a good chat with Tim, and then dialed on LinkedIn and did one of your free webinars with you and Darren and Tim and Sarah. And Darren did his numbers and his economic clock, and I just loved that and thought this is fantastic. And then you did your thing and you scared me a bit with all of your purpose stuff, and I thought maybe I should give this a go to push me out of my comfort zone.
Oh, great. Well, then we're going to come to that in the second half of the interview about pushing you out of your comfort zone, Brad. And we always say to people, L&D was created. L&D is a business-ready program that enables businesses all around the world to get ready for what we call high growth in 2021 and to help businesses navigate through the recession over the 18-month period. And why we designed it was because what we believed is there is an L and a D in every business. And the L is what I would describe as looks at business from a patterns perspective, looks at growth in a more creative way. And the D looks at things more linear and more structured and looks at things more in numbers and processes.
I love the D.
You look like a D, but I bet you've got an L working in your business.
We do. It's hidden in there somewhere.
There's probably an L hidden inside you as well. Okay,
that's right.
So before we move on to that, Brad, I want to kick off with, tell me about you. How did you get into the travel industry? And obviously the travel industry has been one of the industries that's been hit the most during the recession and the pandemic. So talk to me about you, your business, and where you are today.
Yep. So I got into travel more by good luck than good management. I came out of university at the end of the last recession that Australia had, sort of around 91, 92. And I studied accountancy at uni, and I thought I really need to get myself into the workforce. And a friend of mine recommended a growing Australian business that was called Flight Centre, which is now in the UK, and a lot of people would have heard of it. And I got myself a job there and ended up doing 18 to 20 years in Flight Centre, part of their startup operations in Johannesburg in the early days, and learnt a hell of a lot about the business of travel, and was exposed to some fantastic role models. And I've never left the industry from 92 until now. So worked all over the world, and it's been a labour of love.
So why did you move from such a large organisation into Acland Travel? Tell me about that, and tell me specifically, what is Acland Travel? What does it do for people in Australia?
Yep, so we're a medium-sized travel management company. So we specialise in looking after small to medium enterprises across Australia who have a travel spend that is not the large part of town. So we don't look after the multinational companies or big government departments. We try and focus where we can work with the customer and build a great relationship and become a trusted service provider, so we can offer them the best of us. So, you know, we say there's a bit of the yin and the yang with us. We've got the yin of the big company technology, the big company processes and systems, but the yang is the small company agility, the small company ability to make a difference and build a relationship. So we specialise in looking after the SME travel portfolios of some really great Aussie companies.
So obviously the market and the industry with the pandemic and the recession got hugely hit in your industry, and still is, I have to say. And obviously you've come from your whole life and lived through a recession. I also lived through the recession of the early 90s and was in business then, so I do remember it. Talk to me about the impact that that's had on you, and also the reflection point of the whole industry in general, because you've lived in the industry for so long.
Yeah, so we're a very resilient industry. I mean, in my time alone, we've come out of the first Gulf War, a recession, through the second Gulf War, multiple ash clouds, multiple natural disasters. September 11, the GFC. Like in Australia, we had a pilot strike where the whole industry shut down for 6 or 8 weeks. And here we are now in a pandemic where our national borders have been hard shut in Australia for 6 months now. The number of Australians who are allowed home has been capped at 35 per incoming international flight. The city that we live in Melbourne, for 3.5 months, we haven't been allowed to go 5Ks from our house, let alone go and stay in a B&B in regional Victoria. So this pandemic has been nothing short of an amazing test of resilience, and forced a whole industry to look within and come together to work towards creating outcomes that make our industry better.
And what would you say, from your view, the industry in general is looking towards? Have you considered that? Because obviously we've had a lot of people come through the... Brad, are you still there? Because you're frozen on me. Hopefully you're still there with me.
Yeah, I can see and hear you. Can you see me?
Yeah. Oh, you're back now. You're moving.
Oh, sorry, I could see you the whole time. Sorry, I'm still here.
Okay. So what would you say has impacted the industry the most with regards to your work and what you do in the travel industry? And what do you see as, because obviously we've had many people actually on the L&D program that are in the travel industry. I interviewed Julie, who's also from Australia, who you probably know. And there's a lot of people now wanting to come together to actually help shift the industry, kickstart the economy. Could you talk to me about that?
Yeah. So a big part of the problem here in Australia has been that, on top of everything else, the various state borders have also been closed, which has further limited the movement of people and grounded airlines. So there has been a strong, the first part of us coming together has been that there's been a strong campaign to work together to get the industry back on its feet to support the movement of people in a healthy and safe way.
Yeah.
So our wings have been temporarily clipped, but the desire is still there to move around, particularly in our own country. And we will get back on our feet, and it will start with, you know, a concerted effort to holiday at home and move around at home. And, you know, we will survive, provided, you know, you have enough capital to get through it. I think you're on mute.
So we talked about, I can hear rebirth. That's why I'm trying to move them. We talk about uniting on purpose, and we talk about the fact that people around the world now need to unite on purpose for a global movement of unity, because, you know, everybody in the world has been coming through this, and as actually many industries have been hit by the pandemic, the recession and so forth. And not only that, but the planet itself, you know, is now a consideration around what can we all do together towards unity. How do we help different demographics that are struggling and failing? How do we help industries like yourself that are smashed up actually from the pandemic and so forth? And I'm going to talk to you now a bit about coming onto the L&D program and meeting us, because you said it earlier on into the conversation. You know, you heard a webinar, you heard Darren do all his numbers and structures and economics, and then obviously you heard me do all the growth side and talk about how to lead with a purpose and how to lead with a human response. And first off, what was because you said that, you know, how was your experience going through that? And then obviously we took you up to going to unite on purpose in a campaign together. So would you talk to me about that?
Yeah. So the first thing was that, as bizarre as it sounds, the fact that at one stage there, the whole world was almost simultaneously locked down. There was no one moving between anywhere, really. It was almost like, even though we were all stuck at home, we instantly became closer together. So the emergence of new technology gave us all exposure to people that we probably wouldn't have been exposed to if it wasn't for the pandemic.
Yeah.
So, for example, if the pandemic hadn't come along, I doubt I would have found Lindsay and Darren, for example. And, you know, it made me realise that perhaps there's some hidden gems through all the pain that we're about to go through. So I then started to think about, if my business is to survive, I'm going to have to look deep within it to find an alternative way of doing business and an alternative way of reaching out to my customer, with a view to proving that we are a viable alternative in whatever the new world will look like. So I decided to tumble in boots and all with your program and give it a go. And that whole experience of that first lockdown led me to realise that our industry had been fighting change for a long time. We fought selling low-cost carriers. We actually became a little bit grumpy about EasyJet and Jetstar and all of these guys, Ryanair, who were offering 99p flights, and if you want to go to the loo, you have to spend £1. And we got very angry as an industry about these things that are now normal. So I decided that I have to embrace the change here and work within our industry to find out what we can do, and what, you know, that brought me to discovering our purpose.
So I'm going to ask you, Brad. Do you know, I can't get the sound, keeps reverbing. I'm going to ask you, Brad, what is your purpose? What did you come out with going through the journey? And then I want to discuss with you about what's come from finding the purpose and uniting on purpose. And I really want to hear the journey moving forward. So can you tell me what did you unite on purpose with?
Yeah. So the first thing that we did as a team was we sat down and I basically asked everyone in the team that, what does it mean to, what's your purpose for coming into work every day? And what I discovered was that the purpose of our people was not to come to work, but was to achieve what was important to them. So then I rang a few customers and I asked them, what's their purpose for coming into work? Why do they deal with us? And the overwhelming theme that they gave us was the normal stuff around good service and trust, and you always get back to us and all of that. But ultimately, the travel management that we provide enables them to get on the road and achieve their goals. So there was some consistency between our people and our customers around Acland Travel is the ability for them to create or achieve their goals. And we work in, travel is a sexy industry. People love it. I mean, it's great stuff. We get to go away and it's exciting and whatnot. So there's an immense willingness to travel here in Australia. We're, geographically isolated. It's part of our DNA to go forth and conquer. And at the moment, we're like caged animals. We can't get out, but the desire is there. But what's missing at the moment is the confidence, that usual bravado that comes with being an Aussie. The pandemic has dented that. So our purpose is to travel towards a confident tomorrow. We will get on the horse and we'll get our people out there and we will go forth and conquer again. And we will not manage the booking, but we will manage the whole journey to enable our customer to embrace their away game. And we'll take our people on the ride with us so they can also, achieve their confident tomorrow with us.
Oh, so what we do, viewers, traveling towards a confident tomorrow is what you just said, that your purpose is, what you're known for, which right. I absolutely love, I have to say. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That is wonderful.
It took a lot of time. There was a couple of fights within a team. We had a few issues, a few tears, but we got there, Lindsay. We got there.
Wow, I absolutely love it. So when you came on the program to now traveling towards a confident tomorrow, and you look back at yourself, well, 10 weeks ago, whenever it was, or when you joined the webinars and so forth, how have you changed over this period with yourself, with your business? And then what does it look like if I now then look at you forwards? What does the future look like for you now traveling towards a confident tomorrow?
Yeah. So if I look back to 10 weeks ago, I would answer all my problems from a set of numbers. So I would pull out a P&L, I would run some reports, I would find some weak numbers and I would chart a course forward based on whatever those numbers told me. And we would engage our team around those numbers and we would talk strategy and we would all move on and life would be pretty stable, and then the numbers might change and we'd do the same thing again. Then, of course, we had to look, at a different set of variables, and it's made us realise that our business is part of a bigger industry and a bigger community, and we're an important part of it, and we've enjoyed finding that out. The future for us now will mean less about numbers and more about creating meaning with the people that we deal with. So deepening those relationships, and we will focus on managing their whole life cycle of their trip, not just the booking itself. I mean, anyone can manage a travel booking. We all do it ourselves day in, day out. We have to find new ways to add value to our customer, and that purpose will be the start of it.
my goodness. We've actually unleashed the L inside of you.
You have. I'm a closet L.
We're announcing it on LB Presents. You are now a convert.
I'm a closet L, and I love it.
You're a closet L.
I know, Darren. No more Darren. It's all Lindsay.
I can't wait to get him to watch this video. Okay, so you just said about you want to think about now creating the value, and I'm now going to take you into the future. And the pandemic's fine, the recession's fine, and you're motoring ahead with your purpose. What do you think that your business could look like if you were innovating the whole of the business model now? And which you know that I talk about quite often, and we've done in month 2 of the L&D program, where I talked about innovation of the whole of the customer journey. What do you think that your business will move from and to, from a travel agency or travel into? What do you think it might move from and to?
Well, for the last 10 years since I've owned this business, we've been guilty of what every other travel management business does, and we've just focused on the booking itself. But the value is no longer in that. The value is no longer in the booking. The value is in the life cycle or the lifetime journey with the customer. So as we move forward, we will need to find new ways to engage with the customer in that value. We'll have to become a professional services firm that specialises in creating a strategic asset, which is your travel management program. So we are going to have to find new ways to integrate different sorts of data into our business platform on behalf of our customers. So HR feeds to enhance the duty of care. So companies all over the world will want to know where their people are in case there's a re-emergence of a COVID outbreak. There will be the need to integrate government warnings into travel bookings for, if you're a UK-based business and you've got staff who are travelling to the Middle East, terrorism will be that part of it, a volcano going off, but there'll be warnings now around health alerts and things like that. So we'll have to integrate those warnings into the life cycle of the trip so customers can send their people away to travel towards that confident tomorrow, to be able to maintain their duty of care. So we're going to have to innovate to find new ways to bring in different pieces of data, which are all part of the life cycle of the customer travel experience now, but we're not really responsible for, we'll have to bridge that disconnect.
And do you think a confident tomorrow is really now looking at integrating the on and offline? It's not just offline anymore, as we all know, but I don't also think it's just online either, which is what we always discuss. And this whole blended new world of merging on and offline together. And also what you've just described, and we teach this a lot on the school, which is the end-to-end of the whole of the transaction. It's about the whole of the customer journey now, and not just selling people one thing. What do you think your take on is on the whole, on the on and offline, and no longer just off or on?
Yeah, I think it will become increasingly important to be able to blend the offline with the online. And that started to happen already, but it's very clunky and very primitive at the moment because of the pandemic. But I think in travel, it's exposed the importance of it. An example being that if you want to go from Melbourne to Sydney now, here in Australia right now, then before the pandemic, that was simple. Book your flight and go. But now you need a government pass and a COVID test to go. But governments are rescinding passes and it's become very clunky. So to do that one transaction is 3 or 4 offline phone calls to make sure you're good to go. Now that will all pass, but I think to answer your question, the offline will re-emerge in travel with an elevated level of importance, and then the online will be the facilitator of the basics, whereas it's been the other way around until the pandemic.
That's a huge gap for the industry as well, for for you to be able to look at, because what you just said around being able to help people go through what a confident tomorrow looks like in traveling and so forth, and actually what you've described as a very early stage of an industry that's now going to have to adapt to something new. And so actually there's a huge gap there for you to be able to look at and be able to drive your business into that gap and be able to deliver it into that space.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be hard to navigate through it, but it's starting to happen with different external providers and different things out there in the industry here in Australia, and it's a little bit further advanced in the UK. So we just still lag behind. It's always been that way.
So my last question to you is this. We all united on purpose. And you've told me that you would like to give me your line again for your purpose. Can you just say it for my viewers?
Traveling towards a confident tomorrow.
Right. So we're going to travel towards a confident tomorrow. And your government has given me the keys to the country, the whole of Australia, just for one day. And I've got them in my Unite on Purpose bag. So I'm going to pass you the bag. Hang on.
Yep.
There you go. There's your Unite on Purpose bag. Hang on. There you go. Got it?
Thank you. I've got it.
Right. So in that bag are the keys. And what they've said is, Brad, for one day, you can do whatever you would like with the country so that you can get it on its feet again. What would you like to do with the keys just for one day? I'm going to have to give them back tomorrow.
I would like to be able to address our whole country and say that for us to unite on purpose and go forward towards and travel towards a confident tomorrow, we all have to learn to live without fear, because we will get through this.
Oh, fantastic.
And then when the keys go back tomorrow, it'll go back to how it is now. But we have to remember that we will get through this, and when we do get through it, life will be better for a whole lot of reasons that we don't quite know yet.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brad, for coming on to the LB today and being able to speak about what you've been doing in the travel industry. And look, it's ready for a shift. And so I'm hoping that you, with a few other people on the L&D program, will get together and all look at how you unite on travel and tourism and shift the industry into a new era. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lindsay. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me. Okay, all right. See you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
And thank you for all joining me on LB Presents this morning. I know it's bright and breezy for some of you in the UK, but it's not bright and breezy if you're watching from Australia or that part of the world. And remember, I have another interview tomorrow, and we are coming together to unite on purpose. But shh, it's a quiet revolution. So if you want to meet these incredible people, they are on Bob Earth, traveling around. They are the founding citizens of the earth. So you can meet them and have a conversation with them. And that's on Bob Earth. And if you want to join, subscribe to watch all of these LB Presents, then come onto my YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel and follow, share, like with all of your viewers, all of your community, and build a brand to grow a business, to impact an industry and shift the world. I'll see you tomorrow.